Ladies and gentlemen, it's military Mayday again. Pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe or like the channel. There's a little stuff on some Russia, Ukraine. Go through it, read it through. Tanks and their big guns get all the attention, but Russia's smaller cannons are wreaking havoc against Ukrainian troops. A Russian BMP-2 amphibious infantry fighting vehicle fires during the International Army Games near Moscow, August 26. International attention has been drawn to the tank warfare in Ukraine. Tanks have big guns, but medium caliber tanks on the other armored vehicles can be just as deadly. Those smaller cannons have shaped combat for both Russia and Ukrainian forces, one expert says. While tanks and their big guns have been getting the lion's share of the attention in Ukraine, another weapon is proving equally deadly. Medium caliber cannon, the 20mm to 40mm cannon found on the infantry fighting vehicles, air defensive vehicles, and other platforms around the world have been wreaking damage against infantry and other targets. In Ukraine, both sides are using Soviet-era 2A42 30mm autocannon that are outfitted with the Russian designated vehicles used by both armies, including the BMP-2, BMP-3, and BMP-4M troop carriers, as well as the Ukrainian version of the BTR-3 and BTR-4 land warfare. Expert Sam Cranny Evans wrote in the European Security and Defense in January. Those cannons are in widespread use and have ferocious firepower, and they have shaped combat for both Russia and Ukrainian forces, wrote Cranny Evans, who's previously was a researcher fellow at the Royal United Service Institute, a British think tank. British think tank. Cranny Evans cited a Ukrainian soldier who complained last year that the Russian armored personnel carriers are worse than tanks. The gun on them fires faster and they carry soldiers. Yeah, that might be a concern. Wounds from these are horrible. The whole leg can be removed. A shot to the body makes someone almost explode, the Ukrainian soldier said, adding to the Russian APCs are easy to destroy but not good to fight directly. Medium caliber cannon can engage infantry from a distance or even damage a tank, both of which are uses observed in Ukraine, and it is apparent that infantry formations fare poorly against cannons if they're not supported. They also play an important role in urban warfare as they are capable of suppressing position from ranges that are likely beyond the standard shoulder firepower weapon. There's another one of them. People seemingly view the biggest cannon as the best in terms of firepower, but it's not that straightforward. The main battle tank, like the U.S.-made M1 or the Soviet T-72, are armed with 120mm or 125mm guns that can destroy other tanks from miles away. But those tanks carry a limited number of cannon rounds, and their main guns have a limited rate of fire. Moreover, their main guns are all ill-suited for many targets on the battlefield. During World War II, 80% of targets engaged by the M4 Sherman tank were soft targets such as infantry, anti-tank guns, and bunkers. To send tanks after dispersed targets like infantry is like hunting rabbits with a howitzer. That's why tanks have machine guns to engage personnel and hit soft targets such as trucks and don't require a big cannon around. Medium caliber rapid fire cannons such as the M242 Bushmaster 25mm chain gun and the US M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicle combine a rate machine gun with the heaviest shells used by a cannon. The 2A42 can pump out 500 rounds a minute, while the 27A model can shoot 330 rounds a minute. That's quite the firepower. There it is. These weapons can also fire a variety of ammunition, including armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds. The Bushmaster can even fire depleted uranium shells against tanks. Bradley's famously used for their 25mm guns, buying them time to destroy the Iraqi tank with the M2's TOW anti-tank missile. It's now common for infantry fighting and reconnaissance vehicles and carry guns that would have been the main arraignment of tanks in the early years of World War II. Future vehicles will still probably be armed with a medium cannon through some innovations. An M2A3 Bradley fighting vehicle at the range, New Mexico, 2018. U.S. and Russia are looking at heavier 50mm 57 guns, use special ammunition such as super shot, while case telescope cannons offer a prospect of smaller and lighter weapons. The U.S. Army also plans to arm the Striker with a 30mm gun, while France and Britain have ordered BAE's 40mm cased telescope cannon for their light armored vehicles. However, Nato, Russia, and China are largely using medium caliber cannon designed in the 1970s, as Russia is still using Cold War era armed vehicles vulnerable to NATO's current medium cannon. Among those Soviet designed vehicles' many flaws, there may be much impetus among Western militaries to develop new weapons. Nonetheless, Ukraine has become a laboratory to demonstrate what happens when modern mechanized armies meet in battle. The effectiveness of medium caliber cannons suggests that as armored vehicles evolve, those guns remain part of their armament. Written by Michael Peck as a defense writer. Appears in Forbes, all this place. Probably got all the right connections. Yahoo News. Alright, we got some. NATO assesses consequences of Ukraine's attacks on Russia's Black Sea fleet. And she looks to be a little froze up here. NATO has stated that Ukrainian strikes on the Russian Black Sea fleet in September severely limited its capabilities, but it remains capable of performing basic wartime tasks. Source, a high-ranking NATO official on the sidelines of the meeting of a defense ministers in the alliance countries, as European Pravda's correspondent reported from Brussels. Details, as the official said, the Black Sea Fleet suffered a number of serious attacks in September, including attacks on its headquarters. These attacks were more devastating and better coordinated than others so far in this war. The physical damage was almost certainly severe, but localized, leading to Russia withdrawing most of its fleet to Crimea. However, he said the fleet almost certainly remains capable of carrying out its main wartime task of striking with cruise missiles and patrolling the area. And he said the situation will probably force Russia to take a reactive position. At the same time, it demonstrates that the Ukrainian military can undermine the Kremlin's symbolic and strategic projection of power in occupied Sevastopol. As reported, the UK Minister of Defense believes that the Ukrainian forces actually managed to defeat the Russian fleet in the Black Sea. Earlier, UK intelligence stated that after a series of successful Ukrainian strikes, the Russian Black Sea fleet will obviously not be able to have the same control over the Black Sea as before, and its ships will feel less safe in ports. Very interesting. Ukrainska Pravda. Russian forces launched massive advance on Avdiyivka. Iranian military destroyed 60 enemies. I think I hit something on this a couple days ago. Russian invasion forces are trying to advance in the area of the Avdiyivka Donetsk Blast, supported by a large number of tanks and armored vehicles, Ukrainian military and civil officials said on October 11th. The speaker of the Joint Press Center of the Tavaria Defense Forces, Oxlander Sprung, and the head of the military administrative Vitalia Barabash reported large Russian attack on national television. Ukrainian troops have already knocked out over 60 units of the enemy equipment, the Ukrainian military says. Let's go down here at the bottom. I'm running out of time here. It was previously announced that 50 pieces of equipment went on offensive yesterday, but we actually know that more than 60 pieces of equipment were knocked out of our axis. A warplane was shut down. An Mi-8 helicopter was shot down. On October 10th, the Russians conducted a massive shelling of Donetsk Oblast, city hit by artillery and tank shells. Barabash said that the heavy fighting continues to the north of the city. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's some more little snippets for you. Again, like or subscribe if you want to. Toodaloo.